All right, welcome to the Sales After Dark live stream. Your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me. And if you're going to watch this on the replay, you want to fast forward another 5 minutes because I got to say hi to my friends. So anyway, let's see who's on here, man. I think, man, Uncle John is happening first, man. Always excited. Thank you, Uncle John, man. Always glad to have you. We got my man, Brian, from Las Vegas, Chile. Man, it is hot here in Atlanta, Georgia, man. It is hot. And straight from Egypt, Yusuf Shadi Khan, man. Hello, man. Glad you could join us again, and I'm glad you're super excited. Where has Raza Sharp been? Where have you been, man? Where have you been? Glad to have you back. Jenna Barnaba, great to be here again today, sharing the passion from San Diego. You know, I've said it before, I love me some San Diego. Too expensive, but I love it. Braulos, hi, right back at ya. Victor Antonio, number one, I'm not going to argue with you. Jing Yi, good day, eh? From Toronto, man. I got the big T.O. in there, man. Good. Good morning, Ada FRPM, Sarabam, Malaysia. Wow, what time is it over there, man? So anyway, great. Who else is here? We got Ban Cancer King. Here he comes, man. No, here you come, man. Good for you, man. Good evening, everyone. All right, you the man. You the man. It's just such a great name. You the man 1K. All right, man. Good evening to you as well. Let me see who else we got here. We got people rolling in. We got 112 really 112 in Las Vegas, but it's a dry heat, right? It's not that hot, but that's a lot, man. Hola, Victor. ¿Cómo está ese Guzman, New York City? All right. Hello from Wisconsin. Kurt Klingenmeyer. Cheesehead State, you know I love you, man. I told you I lived in Minnesota, so I used to drive through the Cheesehead State all the time. I used to like that sign. I used to see that sign all day. See you in Baraboo, man. I used to love that. Afifa Perodua, if I got it right, just give me a one. Welcome from Malaysia. Mia Knox, my girl from West Coast. Mia Knox. Always glad to have you, Mia. Zena E. I joked about this before, so I won't do it again. Like Sheila E. from the Philippines. Love it, man. Taroom is back, man, from India, man. I know you're up early, man, so thank you for getting up early. Nyla Monet Monroe. Nyla Monet, where have you been? You have been missed by me. And then the source. When Simba is hungry, Bambi has to run. Aloha Hunter, man. All right. I don't know where to go with that one, man, so I'm just going to leave that one alone. And let's kick off the... So we're going to do some Q&A. So I'm going to let you guys ask a lot of questions and answers. But I want to go through, as I was reading an article, and so tonight's topic is really about retention, salespeople staying with companies. I found some fascinating data. And again, if this is your first time joining me, welcome. I go through about maybe 15, 20 minutes of content. And then after that, you can ask all kinds of questions. So here we go. So I found these data points, man. That was really interesting. Check this out. Did you know, this is according to Glassdoor. Did you know, and I'm going to have to highlight this in another color, man, because I want you to see these numbers. Did you know that 45% of salespeople, 45, plan to look for a new job within the next 3 months? 45, that's almost half your sales force. And look at this one, 68% of sales professionals are looking for a job within the next year. They want out of there. And if you remember in one of my last, I think it was my last live stream, two live streams ago, I was talking about data from Gartner. And they said that the average salesperson stays with the company now only 18 months. That's it, 18 months they stay with a company. So how much do you think? Here's a question for you. Think as a business owner right now. I know you're a salesperson, but think as a business owner. How much do you think it costs a company to hire and train a salesperson? Give me your numbers, man. Put them in US dollars for my international people. In US dollars, how much do you think it costs to hire and train salespeople? And I looked online. There's several numbers all over the place, but don't look online. Don't cheat. Give me your gut feel. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think it costs? And I want you to think about all the different costs associated. Bridget's coming in. Bridget, welcome to the show here, man. Bridget's coming in. You can't see the number, but Bridget's coming in at 25,000. So let me see if I can get that on the screen. You're coming in at 25,000. Whoa. Brian's also coming in at 25. Jing Yi's coming in at 15K. Raza's coming in at, I don't understand what that means, Raza. I missed you, but I don't know what that means, man. I don't know what that means. So far I got 25, 25, 15. We're just going to forget about Raza Sharp right now because I don't know what happened there. Training never ends. It requires continued investment. I get it. But what does it cost to hire somebody to get them on board? Come on, give me a number. Zena E is going with 15K. Mia Knox is going with $6,000. Inkle John, the value merchant, is 25K. Raza is quadrupling or quintupling down, going more than 0,000. And Nyla Mones is just going to join Raza, and a year's salary is Chris Jansen. Interesting number there. And let me see. So Jenna Barber puts it at about 15K. You guys are coming in fast now. JD is coming in at 20K. Love a cup of tea. Yes, you're here at 30K. Browlos, 50K. The Source, 2,000. 2,000, man? Come on, The Source. Come on, get with me here, man. No way. 40K and 60K. And then The Source is going to come back. Depends on the company. The Source. I thought we were friends, man. Of course it depends on the company. Let's walk through some numbers. I did some searching and I came up with different numbers. Some of you are actually close. Let's walk through it. And again, The Source, you're absolutely right, Matt. It varies from company to company, type of companies. I get that, right? But on average, if you're looking for, let's say, a mid-level sales professional job, did you know that you typically have to pay recruiters? The average fee to a recruiter is somewhere between 15K and 20K just to hire an actual salesperson. So they got to pay the recruiter. So that's number one, right? The other thing, which is the easy one, is the actual salary. So the average salesperson, tenured around 5 to 7 years, something like that, again, it varies, is about 75K, 75,000, right? Then if you add in there training costs, like you got to put them through courses, got to do some training, they estimated training was at about 25K. And again, the numbers vary up and down. And then when you had benefits, the bennies, right? Like healthcare, dental, all that wonderful stuff. You know, that was another 15 and it was to 20,000K. So, but if you look at all these numbers, if I can just wrap that up, the average price, and some of you like to say almost dead bang on, 75,000 to onboard a new salesperson here in the United States. 75,000. Now, here's a trick question. Here's a trick question. Don't fail me. I know you're a smart group. Here's a trick question. And that was my dog running around. Here's a trick question. If I hire somebody for 6 months and they quit, how much time have I lost? How much time have I lost? What do you think? I'm looking at some of the comment. How much time do you think you've lost? You hire somebody for 6 months and then they quit. How much time do you think they've lost? Right? Hold on a second. This is what's running around my leg right now. This is Pebbles. This is Pebbles, my dachshund. And so she likes to hang out with me, come into the studio and just hang out. Yeah, that's the audience. That's the Sales After Dark audience. Yep. There they are. Say hi to them. You got some international fans now. So anyway, that's the champ right there. All right, just do that. She's going to lay right there now. But anyway, so what did we, 12 months. Yeah, you guys got it, right? Because here's what most people don't think about, and I'll clear the board. You got the 75. Most people don't think about this, that if I bring in somebody for 6 months, right, and they quit, that means I have to what? Redo all that training process, and it's going to cost me another 6 months to get to that point. There's something in business, in economics, called an opportunity cost. And so for those of you who are saying 1 year, you're absolutely right to bring somebody on board. And so this is quite expensive. So think about it. You bring somebody on board, they quit after 6 months. That means you lost almost a year's worth of time and effort, the opportunity cost of selling in there. So that's a year. You guys are right. The second thing is, if you believe the 75,000, that's a lot of money. So what I started thinking about is, why do you and I, salespeople, quit? Because we've all quit jobs, right? By the way, who's actually quit from their sales job? Give me a 1 if you quit. A 1. A 1 if you've quit from, like, one day you said, I'm done. And if you quit, give me a 1 and also type in why. Give me the why. So 1, I quit. So type in 1. So here's what you do. Give me a 1 and then give me the why. Fill in the why. Give me a why. I want to know why you left. Make it short. Don't give me a long story. Tell me why you left. Come on, I got a couple of ones. I know I can put in a bunch of ones right now. So we got a few ones here. Let me clear this. So again, give me a one and the why. I want to know why you quit your job. Why you quit. So I'm going to take the ones that have a reason. Right here, RV says management, and he's going to double down and say money as well. Can't argue with that. You demand 1K, ethics. Interesting. Oh, Pete's got a heavy one here. They cut my commission. Man, I've had people take my territory away from me, Pete, and that just really killed me. The company owner, interesting. Brian says, not treated right. Company does not honor agreements. Man, let's talk about that one tonight a little bit, right? Manager has zero integrity. Isn't that fascinating? It's like the story's almost the same. Couldn't make the required quota. All right, we're going to hit that one, Monet. Okay, Jing Li, man, Jing Yi, micromanagement will kill you as well. We'll hit on that as well. Internal competition, interesting. One more here. I can't agree with my boss's way of running the business. Yeah, that's when you have to leave, Inkle. When you can't agree with them, that's when you have to leave. So I've listed out 5 reasons why people leave, but I'm going to give you 5 reasons how you can retain. So if you're a manager right now and you're watching this, look at the comments that are in the common chat session right now, because that's kind of the reason why people leave. So let's talk about how we can actually retain people in the company. So I'm going to talk about 5 ways to actually retain high performers like the ones on this live stream. So let's go through it real quick. The first one is an easy one. The first one is to provide a clear path for advancement. See, everybody wants to grow in a company. If you agree with that, and by the way, I'm going to list out 5. I want you to pick out your favorite one. So here's the first one. A clear path to grow. See, we all like to grow within a company. We want to learn. We want to expand. And when we're not given a plan of growth and we're just doing the same thing over and over again, guess what? We're not going to want to be happy. So I always keep this in mind. We've all heard of the famous WIFM, right? What's in it for me? Because that's what people think. If you're a salesperson, you're thinking, what's in this for me? If I'm just doing the same thing over and over again and I'm not growing, or there's no career path for me to actually advance or get promoted, then that might be a reason that I would want to leave the company. Hit me with a 1 if you think that's a good one. Hit me with a 0 if you don't like that one. But I think unless you can provide a training path, and by the way, it doesn't always have to be a promotion. But if you remember from one of my past live streams, I talked about Daniel Pink's book. Remember, Daniel Pink wrote a book called Drive. I mention this book quite a lot because I love this book. It's by Daniel Pink, right? And Daniel Pink wrote this book called Drive, and he said 3 things motivate people. And if you remember, the first one was A was for autonomy, freedom, right? The other one was obviously mastery. You want to grow. That was the other one. And the third one was purpose. Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. So when people feel like they're part of something and they're also growing, they're mastering something new, that's when they feel good about working for your company. Number 2, let me clear the board. So number 2 is have an onboarding process. This is where I think a lot of companies fail. They simply don't have an onboarding process. I can't tell you how many salespeople I coach that tell me, Victor, I came in and basically they gave me business cards, they gave me brochure, they gave me about 1 day's worth of training, and they say, here's your territory, here's your quota, go sell. That was the onboarding process. And I think what happens is when you bring somebody on board and they're unsure, they start off on the wrong foot. If they don't have the proper training, they're going to get what? Screwed. So I always say, no train, no gain. People are simply going to leave. How many has that happened to you? Where you come into a company, there's no training program, they just kind of throw you into a territory, said, go figure it out. Or you maybe do a ride along with the manager. And what's interesting about managers is that some people can be great people and then they're promoted to managers. Have you ever noticed that? Salespeople who are promoted to managers, and what people don't understand is, guess what? Just because they were a great salesperson doesn't mean they're going to make a great what? Manager. And sometimes managers don't know how to train salespeople. Have you ever had this happen to you? You're training under a manager and you ask them a question like, how do you do this? How do you close this? How do you get close to a customer? How do you build rapport? Whatever it may be. And they say, you go in there and you just do it. You just do it. And you're like, well, that's not real instructions. Well, and they'll just like, well, watch how I do it, and then you just do it the way I do it. And that's the onboarding process. And a lot of people simply get frustrated because they can't deal with that. In fact, there's a, and then some managers know. You know how many some managers know how to actually sell, but what they can't do is transfer that information. Have you had that, boss? They're very good at what they do, but they can't transfer the information. It's like they don't know how. There's actually a term for that. You'll love this. I want you to write this down. This is a cool phrase. There's something called, it's called Polanyi's paradox. It's called Polanyi's paradox. Oh, you're going to want to know this. Come on in. This is going to be good. So Polanyi's paradox is the following. Polanyi's paradox is you know something, but you can't explain it. You ever like, you know something, and when somebody says, well, how do you do it? You go, I don't know, man. I just do it. I just do it. And so the story I tell is about a guy I worked with. His name was Larry. Larry was a great sales guy. And then Larry, I remember people would ask him, Larry, why are you such a great salesperson? He would always say, I don't know, Victor. I just go in there, talk to the customer, close the deal. That was his training. That was the training he would give his salespeople. Just go in there, talk to the customer, close the deal. And what was interesting is I was asked to follow Larry around for a couple of weeks, and a month later I wrote up his sales process. I actually observed him and actually documented his sales process. What's funny is when I showed it to Larry, he goes, yep, that's what I do. And it was like a 45 or 50 page sales process manual I put together. But he himself couldn't explain it. I had to observe him and then write it out for him. And I think that's fascinating. There are a lot of good managers out there, but they simply can't explain or train. And so if you don't have an onboarding process, which is a way of getting people on board, I'm telling you, you're going to struggle with keeping people because they're going to get frustrated. A lot of new salespeople come in and they're unsure of themselves, right? They're very unsure of themselves. They don't know how to sell. And so what they want to do is figure out a way to what? Be more effective in selling. So number 3, getting rid of the graphics again. Let me clear the board. Offer opportunities, and it kind of ties into the same thing, right? For continued learning. But this is a little different. Instead of just having an onboarding process, this is like another layer of it. By another layer, I mean, what happens is, hold on a second, I got to do something. My air conditioning is off. So I have to use my app to turn on my air conditioning right now. So just bear with me because it's getting hot in the studio up here. Wait a minute. Talk to each other while I'm doing this. It'll take me I have some Nest applications here. In case you're wondering. By the way, do you guys use Nest? You have Nest throughout the house? We have it, so I can actually just crank down the air conditioning on this place. And hold on a second. I'm getting some, here, you can actually witness me doing my air conditioning. Here, this is me cranking down the air conditioning right there. Let's see if it goes blue on me. Come on, go blue, go blue. Air conditioning is on finally. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, total break. So anyway, like I said, it's getting hot in the studio. But anyway, so mentoring opportunities are great, right? So by mentoring, I mean assign your salesperson to somebody within the company. So imagine if you brought in a salesperson and then let's say we brought him in and you say, you assign that salesperson to Victor, a seasoned salesperson. And my job is to now mentor that salesperson. That's what companies need. This is so easy to do. I'm surprised and shocked most companies don't do it. Years ago, when I worked for a company, I had a mentor. And I was able to go to his office all the time and ask him questions. His name was Jose Santana. He was like from Spain, like Canary Islands, Spain, right? And he would talk with this deep, beautiful Spanish accent, right? And so he would always like Victor, he was a real deep voice. And I remember one time I asked him, because he was like killing it in sales, right? And I asked him, I said, Jose, what's your secret to selling? Jose Santana from the Canary Islands said to me, Victor, in that voice, that tone, I said, Victor, being successful is very simple. He actually said it, very simple. I said, well, what's your secret to success? He goes, very simple. I said, what is it? What's very simple? He said, here it is, the secret. Just keep asking till someone says yes. I said, what? He says, yes, just keep asking till someone says yes. And I said, you're telling me that your whole secret of success is predicated on just keep asking until someone says yes. And he said, what? Yes. And so I remember, joking aside, I would travel with him and I would watch him. And then what was cool about him is that he would watch me or give me opportunities to speak or do the presentation. And these were big deals. And then afterwards, we'd always have a debrief in the car or in the taxi, whatever it may be. And he was always really reinforcing what to do, what not to do. But he was always very straight with me. And to this day, I still remember him. So if you have a mentor in your life that you remember that was very impactful for you, give me a 1, man. Give me a 1 on that one. Because, great for mentors who do that. Because I think that's awesome, man. All right. Going really quick. So it's all about growth, right? Simple. Now, the next one, we talked about this. How do you put together a compensation plan? And don't mess with people's compensation plans, right? I always say this, don't mess with people's compensation plan. If you pay people well, now remember, if I can get them to grow and I'm paying them well, they're going to stay around. If I treat them well, remember, purpose, give them some autonomy so they can grow, do their thing, but also pay them well, they're going to hang out. They're going to hang out. I'm just blown away. Now, if you think this is a simple topic, think about the numbers earlier. People are only staying around for 18 months. It's costing companies at least $75,000 to train a salesperson. On top of that, almost 50% want to leave within 3 months, right? Another 68% want to leave within 1 year. I mean, these are horrific numbers, and all we have to do is take some simple steps to avoid all this. So, the last one, comfortable and flexible work environment. This is an easy one, right? Give people, somebody mentioned micromanagement. Micromanagement is like one of the worst things you can do to a salesperson. Salespeople want guidance. They don't want micromanagers. Would you agree with that? Because there's that theory X and theory Y. Theory X is command and control. Just do what I tell you. Just follow the rules. Theory Y is where you delegate, you give people that freedom. And too often we don't give people that freedom. And what happens is they feel like they're not growing. They feel restricted, like you don't trust them. They can't go left or right without your permission. They leave the company. Now, the last one, I know I said 5. I thought I'd throw in a bonus because this one is what I want to tell managers. This message is for managers. Do not lie to your salespeople. Oh, I'm going to go deep on this one. All right, I'm going to go deep on this one because this one, I feel this one. Managers or executives within a company, bring in a salesperson. Tell me if you can relate. Let me get through the story. You tell me if you can relate. They bring in a salesperson under false pretenses. In many cases, it could be about training, right? Maybe the false pretense is training, right? We're going to train you. And do they train you? No, they don't train you. Again, they do 1 day of training. They send you out there. The second is they're going to mentor you. Do they mentor you? No, they do that for the first week of the first month. They don't do it. Then they're going to say, we're going to give you a reasonable, are you ready for this? A reasonable what? Quota. And do they? No. Right? And then the compensation plan, you'll be able to hit your number. Within 2 to 3 months, you should be making this much money. And what happens? It doesn't happen. And when you do that, you violate a trust. It's like almost every salesperson knows, you just don't lie to salespeople. You don't put your hand in their pocket. By that, I mean change their compensation plan. You help them grow in order to make money and hit quota. So, and I'll give you my story with that, why this is personal to me. I was brought into a very large company as a president of sales. We had $1 million in the pipeline. They told me, said, Victor, we got $1 million in the pipeline. Listen to this. Yeah, I'm sorry, not $1 million, $100 million. Yes, I said $100 million in the pipeline, right? So this business we're going to close on. He said, we got this product that nobody else has, okay? Which was true. Nobody else had this product, right? And I don't want to get into detail, but it's a $100 million quota. They brought me in as president of sales and marketing, and they gave me I think it was a $57 million quota. Now I'm thinking, let's do some math here. $100 million pipeline, right? I got to hit a $57 million quota. I'm thinking, that's a 50% shot. I'm willing to take that bet, right? And I got a good package, good compensation, good compensation plan for myself and for my sales team, right? So I now joined the company. And in the first board meeting we had, I started asking the hard questions. I said, all right, so now that I've signed the non-disclosure agreements, now that I'm part of the company, let me see this I think it was like $105 million, pipeline. And they showed it to me. Boom. All the customers, these are big deals. The average deal size was about maybe $250,000 to $500,000, $250,000 to $500,000. So you can hit $100 million. So I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, this is fantastic. I said, now, my key question is, in the last 6 months, how much of this have you closed? In the last 6 months, how much of this have you closed? The place went quiet. I mean, literally, the boardroom went quiet. And I go, then they gave me some, you know how somebody gives you an answer and it just doesn't make any sense? It's like it's filled with a lot of gobbledygook. It's like politicians, they say a lot of words, but it means nothing, So it's a lot of noise signifying nothing, right? And so I said, no. So I asked the question 2 or 3 different ways. I just wasn't getting a straight answer. So finally I said, look, I just need to know this. Out of the $100 million in this pipeline, over the last 6 months, how much money hit the bank account? I mean, I literally did this. Went into the bank account. They told me that in the last 6 months, they had closed, I still remember the number, $1.8 million in 6 months. Totally lied to me. Totally lied to me. They said, we're guaranteed out of the $100 million, we're going to do at least the $40 million are going to be closed easily. We just need you to come up with the difference. But when I knew it was 1.8, now imagine 1.8 to try to close $57 million in 1 year where they couldn't do it in the last 6 months became impossible. Then I found out, not to kind of bleed all over this thing, that the product wasn't ready. It wasn't complete. They were trying to sell it before they actually finished the actual product. And what wound up happening is I had to leave the company because you do not lie to your salespeople. When you lie to people and you bring them in under false pretenses, they're going to leave. If you bring somebody in and you make it sound like it's going to be easy to sell a lot, that's the wrong way of doing it. The best way of doing it is there's something in psychology called the inoculation effect. Hit me with a 1 if you know what the inoculation effect is. The inoculation effect is when I tell you something's going to happen, and when it does happen, you're not surprised. For example, if I bring you in under false pretenses, I said you're going to be able to kill your number within 3 months and be making, within the first year, you'll probably make 75 to 100,000, whatever it is. And after 3 months, you're not even closing anything. And all of a sudden you realize the quota's unreasonable, the training's lacking, it's not going to work. You feel disappointed. But what if I were to hire you and then I inoculate you by telling you the truth? I'll say something, I'll use Brian as an example. I say, Brian, you're going to join my company. Now, within the first 6 months, you're not going to make any money. You're simply not. He says, by the way, if you do, congratulations. But based on the history, you're not going to make any money in 6 months. Again, if you do that before, great. He says, you're going to start seeing everything really pick up in the 6 to 9 month, the third quarter. But I will guarantee that by the end of the year, you'll be at minimum at least at this salary. That much I can guarantee. Now, what happens? Brian comes into the company. He starts making the calls. He starts making the customer visits. And for the first month or two, nothing's happening. Does Brian get depressed? No, because that's what Victor said would happen, that nothing would happen. 3 months go by, 4 months go by, 5 months go by. He still hasn't sold anything or hasn't closed anything. Is he disappointed? No, because Victor told him it's going to take this long. So by knowing how long it's going to take, I inoculated him, almost like a shot, right? Inoculated him from disappointment. And this is a powerful concept because what we want to do is make sure that people have a realistic expectation when they come in. And then we as managers should have a training program, an onboarding system to make sure that they can ramp up and really hit the streets running, right? And that's what we need. So those are the 5 things I wanted to cover today because if we want to improve retention with our companies, we really need to figure out how do we take care of our people? How do we train them? How do we allow them to grow? How do we compensate them? How do we provide mentorship? And last but not least, don't lie to them. Be upfront and take care of your salespeople. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to take some questions right now. We got a lot of comments. Holy buckets, we got a lot of comments here. All right, I'm going to go through some of the comments. Again, if I missed you and I missed your comments, don't get mad. There's a lot of things. I got people coming in from Facebook, personal, Facebook fan page, YouTube, Twitch, And so there's a lot of commentaries off to the side. So we got a bunch of, well, Brian, since I mentioned you, we got the big ding ding, always fighting for commissions that have been earned. That's the worst thing to do, man. Man, Pete says that is a blessing, man. When you can have a great mentor or mentors in your case, that's it. That's why even hiring coaches, if you need a coach, hire a coach. If you need to work within a company or you're within a company, find somebody who's willing to mentor you and just ask them, will you mentor me? And all you need really is about an hour or two a week of their time. Mia's in the house. She agrees. 5 is a big yes. Deb says yes. Kevin Holt. Kevin, why do your name sounds familiar to me, man? Do I know you? Like personally, like have we met? I thrive with number 5. That's so cute, Brenda. That's very cute. Amen. So you hear me preaching. I'm dealing with that micromanaging right now. The problem with micromanaging is that it doesn't allow you to grow and it doesn't allow you the freedom. What I love about that book by Daniel Pink is that he talks about how people are happiest when they have that autonomy to make decisions, right? And, move around as they want to do it. What's often, Mia, tell me if you agree, or Monet, tell me if you agree with me, Monet, but it's interesting how people put you in the box and then they tell you to think out of the box. They put you in a box and they say, well, you got to be creative in how you sell, but you just told me not to sell that way, not do it that way. And you can never win when you're selling somebody else's way. Let me know if you agree with me, Monet. Let me know. Jing Yi, number 5 is his. Yeah, man, that's a big one, man. The bonus one, amen. Started a new job on Monday after 5.5 years, even though I had my best quarter in the past 3. No trust always, changing the rules. When you're messing with change, when you're changing the rules, man, not good, man, not good. So people are wishing you good luck here, man. So good for you, Brian, man. Really happy for you. Every ending is a new beginning. Boom. Cancer King is gonna go positive on us. I love it, man. Jukka Vilka from Finland. I got in live 4 a.m. here in Finland. Jukka, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for joining me from Finland. And so, love, Jukka. Look at that. People even love you already, Jukka. Victor's always dropping golden nuggets. Thank you. Michael Bonet. Like I said, man. Michael, if you have a fan page, by the way, if this guy has a Facebook fan page, I'm telling you, great sales guy. He knows he's a superstar, man. I don't want to embarrass him too much, man. But anyway, Michael. All right. Rod Vidre, love it as always. I know you got questions, Rod. You always have questions, man. Love it as always, Victor. If you were to bet on a select business to succeed today, what would it be? You ask me this every time, Rod. I swear to you, you ask me this every time. Victor, what business? What would it be? And through what channels would be the best to acquire? I have no idea. There's so many opportunities out there, Rod. You keep asking me this question. I keep giving you the same answer. So I'm not ignoring you. I still love you, Rod. But it's like there's so many opportunities out there. I'll give you one example, Rod. Today I was talking to there was the window company I did, the roofing company I did, and then I'm working with a school supply company. You can imagine that, and they're selling a lot of PPE products into schools, and their business is just gangbusters, man. So there's so many different opportunities out there, man. So, Uncle John, the value merchant himself, says, love the information. How do you make employees feel that they are contributing value to the mission and vision of the company? Most sales agents are neglected and looked down most of the time. I think it's a big question. It's a great question, Uncle. And that is, when you look at communication, it's like people need to feel that what they're doing contributes somehow. So, for example, when I used to work for Honeywell, like many years ago out of college, one of my first jobs with Honeywell, and I ran one of their test centers, right? And there's people who work the production lines, right? And we're doing circuit boards, chip testing, discrete components, ASICs and all that. And at the end of the week, we would always do a review of how we did, how the run rates were, what the defect rates were, and so forth and so on. And when people saw the numbers, sometimes they were happy, sometimes they were good numbers, sometimes they were bad numbers. But that piece of communication gave them the feedback they needed to know, hey, what they were doing mattered. And that, I think it's creating that feedback loop, isn't it? Just getting back there and say, hey, here's what you're doing. This is how it's contributing. Because people want to know how they're contributing. How are my small efforts contributing? So if I'm working with salespeople, and again, unless you have a big sales force, if you have a small sales force, it doesn't take much but a phone call to just say, hey, I just saw you did this. Exceptional, man. We've been trying to get that customer, or they sold a new product they haven't been able to sell before. Love the fact. I think it's touches, man. It's a game of inches when it comes to motivating salespeople because, again, I'm a capitalist. I like money. I assume most of you are like me, right? We like to make money, but we also know that it's not always about the money. And we like to feel that feedback and a little bit of love from the company. So, when you look at the vision and mission of a company, to me, that's always, and I'll answer this one this way, Anko. When I think about a vision and mission of a company, I don't look at it that way from a sales standpoint. I got to be honest. I'd be lying and being a hypocrite right now, because the company has a vision and mission. I buy that. I like what they're doing. But me, I'm tactical, right? Ground level. I want to know that my product or service is helping my customer base. That's the only purpose and mission I have, is to help my customers make more money or reduce costs and become more profitable. And so I never really focus so much on the mission of the company, because that can change at any moment. But if I have a great product, which is all I care about, and I'm selling it to companies to help them grow and expand, that to me is my personal mission. So said another way, I don't believe so much in a company mission as I do in my personal mission to help people. So, and I'm not just saying that to sound all, philosophical and great. I mean, I really mean that, because that's the only mission you can control. The company can change missions tomorrow, change their purpose tomorrow, but if you know that you just love helping companies grow, helping people grow, I think that is the ultimate mission right there, man. So let me know what you think about that. Let me see, where you at here? CF Jackson, great stuff, Victor. Very informative and insightful. Thank you for joining us again, CF. Brian, what do you got to say now? Yes, be prepared have a 6-month transition before sales start to develop. New company has been very upfront and has offered supplement to carry me through the ramp-up period. That's a smart company. They tell you it's going to take you 6 months to get ramped up. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to provide you a decent base salary, enough to feed you and put food on the table, as they say, but still keep you hungry, if you know what I mean. And I think that's always the balance in finding the right plan. Like some companies just go for straight commission, and there's nothing wrong with straight commission. If you can thrive in straight commission, why not? Some people do base salary. I hate just a base salary. I don't believe in that. But I do love the mixture of salary plus commission, but I do believe in a low base and a real exaggerated commission structure to make me want to sell a lot, man. So I hope they're giving you something like that, Brian. Way to go, man. Sparrow's Tail, man. Where have you been? Hi, Victor. What is your opinion on passing out physical flyers? What's the best approved way to do it? I really want new leads. Thanks always for your awesome streams. Man, Sparrow, I just wouldn't do it, man. I think that's, and again, I don't know your business, but I mean, I think that's a hard strategy, man. You know what I mean? Handing out stuff. I mean, you got to do it. That means, remember, if you're out there for an hour passing out flyers, that's an hour you're not working on your business, right? And you probably say, well, I can hire somebody to do it. I said, well, okay, that's another form of marketing. If you can just hire somebody for a couple of pennies to do it, why not? But I would look at online marketing. I think that's more effective. You can be more targeted in who you go after. Whether you use Facebook, LinkedIn, you can really be more targeted. And again, if you use strategies like search engine optimization, you can drive more traffic to your website. Use the pay-per-clicks, the search engine marketing stuff, drive more traffic to your website. I think that's the most efficient way of doing it. And again, you can hire somebody or do it yourself, but that's a tough slog, man, to do it that way. Get hired fast. I moved to Florida for a comp plan that was changed after I got here. Are you still there? Got hired fast? Because that's after that, all trust is gone, right? That's like, it's just a relationship gone wrong after that, man. Monet, thank you, man. Gotcha. All right. What about when the sales manager discounts a vehicle and all your deals turn into minis? That's a horrible sales manager. Do you know what I mean? Because maybe he's measured differently. I don't. Next Freeman, I don't know the deal, but sometimes when I've seen that happen is because the manager is not, I guess, paid on commission on the car. He's maybe paid on units moved that month, and maybe if he moves X amount of units, he gets a bonus. So his motivations are totally different. And if that's the situation, then your boss's boss, your manager's boss, has a very lousy compensation plan, because if you, again, like anything else, you got to be careful how you put a compensation plan together, because sometimes they can work against each other. And this is a perfect example, if I understand it correctly, that your manager has a certain KPI that says, I just need to move units, and then I'll get my bonuses. And you're thinking, no, I need to get the biggest dollar value so I can get a commission on this thing and a percentage thereof. Those are two contradictory goals, and that means whoever's a director or owner of the dealership has a bad compensation plan that's put together. Send them a copy of this video link. Let him watch it. Maybe he'll get some education out of that. Priska Rendon. Hi, this is my first time ever watching you, and I love the information. Priska Rendon, thank you for joining us. What is that in Spanish? Vive, ayuda a vivir y dejar vivir y finito. Lopez. Okay. I love it. I love hearing honest people and very educated. Thank you very much, man. Love you being here, man. Thank you. Greetings from Australia. Sandra Jovanic, thank you for joining me. Leon Daly, I knew you were going to be here somewhere, man. Just getting Victor, but love what I'm Ben. What is it? Love what I don't know what the last part is, Leon. But anyway, I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're here. Let me see. Get hired fast. You have been my mentor since I started in my own. Thank you for your helpful advice. That's so sweet, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. How to sell if you don't have experience. Sandra Jovanic, how to sell if you don't have experience. First of all, I challenge you. Sandra, when you say you don't know how to sell, come on. I mean, we all know how to sell. We all know how to sell. Now, what you're saying to me is, Victor, what if you've never sold professionally? That's what you're really saying to me. Because you can sell. Anybody can sell. And by the way, if you don't like the word selling, use sharing. And if I asked you right now, if there's something you're passionate about, something you love, do you love sharing it with people? Is there something you're excited about? Do you love sharing with people? And if the answer is yes, Sandra, that's selling, because what you're doing is you're selling people your enthusiasm. You're telling people and you're sharing. That's all selling really is. So now let's move it over into the professional territory. And now we're selling to a company or an individual and we're trying to help them. And so keep in mind, Sandra, that at the end of the day, you're trying to help people. Now, I'm that different type of sales trainer. First of all, one, I like money. Okay, so I get that out of the way real quick. I love making money. I am a capitalist, right? But two, I don't want to sell people something they don't want or don't need, right? I want to sell them what they need. And so if you come from that place in your heart or your stomach, your gut, I think you're always going to be able to be successful at selling. So figure out what you want to sell, figure out who's more likely to buy it, and then figure out how you're going to present that. And that's all selling is. I'm not saying it's easy, but selling ain't hard when you know how, as I always say. So let me know if that kind of helps a little bit. Sell the way you talk. Don't try to be like Victor. Don't try to be like anybody else on this chat board. Be you, sell you, and then obviously just communicate. Really care about people. So let me know what you think of that answer. Monet, get fussed at not following the system being taught and said we have to follow to teach others. Yeah, that's when people try to get you to do it their way. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating. Let's see. We got Raza Sharp International. Victor, your sales are dope, man. Thank you very much. It's between you and Grant Cardone. Let's go. Grant Cardone's a good dude, man. And so part of my Sales Velocity Academy, you can actually access it. So you can either buy my Sales Velocity Academy through me, which you should, or you can also buy it through my man Grant, which is okay as well, man. I'll still love you. Grant's got a great team. Michael Bonnet is actually part of Grant Cardone's team. And so about, like I said, a couple of years ago, time flies, man. I saw how they did business, right? How Grant trains his team, and Grant has his right-hand man, a guy by the name of Jared Glant. I saw how they work, and I saw how hard they work. True grinders, true hustlers, great dude, great company. And again, people have their opinions, but I've met Grant. I've done workshops with Grant. I've been with Grant in, let's just say, out of the public eye, and the dude is a really good dude, man. His heart's in the right place. Is he edgy? Yeah, he is. But that's why he's Grant, right? Cool. I need you to mentor me. Just started a social medicine agency. I'm in New York City, man. Cool, man. I don't do mentoring, but man, this is the best place to be for the free mentoring, man. Oh, Rod's back again, man. Me. My memory of a fly. Yeah, let me paraphrase. All right, as an engineer, what telco niche/sector is and will be the most booming in the new normal? Well, 5G. I mean, but beyond 5G, now I can probably answer your question better. So if you're looking at 5G, so what Rod has asked me in the telecom business, what business is going to be booming? I think it's going to be anything that has to do with bandwidth and pipe. Let me just explain that, Rod, so you'll get it. Very simple. Let me be nerdish for a while. So, you got a cell tower here, a cell tower here, a cell tower here, a cell tower here, a cell tower here. And cell towers are always shooting information. That's why when you're driving down the highway, right, the cell towers, the information follows you, right? So what's happening is in 5G, because they're shorter frequencies, they're going to have to put more towers. They're going to have to make more towers. They're going to make like mini antennas. They're going to put up physical towers, but you're going to start seeing small antennas like stuck on buildings, and they're going to populate like everywhere. There are going to be antennas everywhere. So the antenna business is going to go up. The tower business, as far as the equipment on the towers, that's going to go up as well. Fiber optic networks will go up because, again, the pipes carrying all the data into your house. So anything that has to do with simply infrastructure will go up. I think that is where I would go because they're always going to need infrastructure. So you can never go wrong with infrastructure. So hopefully I answered your question that time, Rod. Much better question. Whitney G. Love the name already. Rule 5 also apply to marketers as well. Question, what's your position on the build? I just missed the second part of this here. Build if sold model, meaning build the product once it's sold. What are your pros and cons of this selling technique? The big con is the cycle of the product. In other words, how long does it take you to build? And so we used to joke about this. We used to call it vaporware or slideware. By presentationware or slideware, I meant we had it on slides, but the product didn't exist. And we were looking for the first deal before we actually built the product. And so I remember the company I was with that did that, I left because even if a company says, I'll buy it, what then happened was it would take another 6 months just to get the first prototype out. So now, if it's a product that you can develop right away, then you probably have an argument, right? That you can. So if it's a shorter sales cycle, like say you can do this, you can ramp up to get this done in 30 days, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it, especially if you're talking big volume, right? Because you don't want to buy volume, stick it in your garage, so to speak, or your warehouse, and it stays there and it doesn't move. Because part of what business is turning inventory. So getting a deal first and then turning around and building it with a short sales development cycle is always a good strategy. But if it's a long development cycle, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole because that's just you don't want to ruin your reputation, Whitney G. Personal mission insight, excellent, man, cool. Otherway just gave me that. He likes the money pitch. I think that's it. Good morning, Victor. Greetings from the Philippines. Ronald Padilla. Welcome, man. Tarun, you've been quiet. Here you are. Victor. What are the keys to keep in mind when your sales team is located remotely over the globe? Training in such situation becomes a little tough. Absolutely. I was having this conversation literally this morning with a client, potential client. And one of the challenges they're having is that some of the salespeople are not entering the data into the CRM systems now. You can tell that their productivity levels have gone down. So in other words, instead of doing the average 50 calls per day, and they had to set up, I think it was like, I think it's 10 to 15 meetings per week. So 50 calls per day. So you can imagine that's 250 calls. And they had to set up, I think it was 12 meetings per week. And so those were the original metrics before the pandemic. After the pandemic, as of today's conversation, a third of the people were making, it was like maybe 2 to 3 calls per day. That was it. And the numbers were dropping. And so how do you keep people motivated? How do you keep them in the game is going to be the new challenge, right? But I think, the problem is that a lot of their compensation structures were set up in such a way that people got paid anyway. This is the danger of giving people a salary, especially a high salary and a small commission component. That's why I like low salaries, right? And a big commission component, because you give people enough money to exist, but they got to sell. But if you're at home now, think of it, these people are at home now and they're just saying, well, I can live off this. This is good enough. And my bosses aren't around. And I think what also happens is that, you tell me if you think I'm wrong, Tarun, or right, is that you slip slowly into this laziness curve. In other words, your productivity was, before the pandemic, your productivity was up here. But now we're like 3 months into this, and your productivity just slips continues to go down below a point where it's not even productive anymore. But it happens so slowly. It's like developing a bad habit, and I think that's what's happening. And so my suggestion to them was I change the compensation plan and then look at your KPIs. What are you measuring them on? And then hold them accountable. A lot of these salespeople, a lot of them were not even putting the information into the CRM. And as you know, if you're not putting the data into the CRM, that data is going to be lost. So that was one of the biggest issues. So it's a tough one, but we got to get back to accountability. So even if they're remote, I would check in once in a while, see what's going on. Jing Yi, What do you think about having monthly contests and posting weekly sales report for salespeople to keep competition within the force? Now, see this, Jing, a lot of people argue. I'm going to use Grant Cardone's team, and when I was down there, they have a leaderboard, man. The numbers are up on the board. They got these television screens. Mike Bonnet, if you're still here, man, you can talk to this. They have these big boards, and everybody sees what's going on and who's leading. And so I personally think you can do that. The way we used to do it is that every week we would have the leaderboard, right? But it wasn't a board as in a television that people can see like they do in call centers. This was at the end of the week, we did a roll-up. Who sold what, and the rankings were there. But we didn't look at it as competition because everybody had their own territory. So we started developing this camaraderie thing where if the top performer was X person, it was you, Jing, for example, and Victor's number 9, the manager would say, hey, Victor, I need you to set up a meeting with Jing, maybe get some pointers on what he's doing to be successful. And then Jing would turn around and say, yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that. So we had that cooperative, competitive thing going on. And so, because it was always a win-win. Just because you won doesn't mean I lost. But if everybody started winning, and that's another thing you can do is create almost like a group quota type of thing. So you'll still have your individual ones. So I'm all for the individual quotas, individual personal accountability. But there's nothing wrong with putting together a group quota. And if you put together a group spiff, a special incentive, like if the whole group makes at least this much, we all win. Now think of the situation like this, Jing. You see that I'm struggling, you're going to say, hey, man, everybody, let's help Victor because we need to get him to push his number up so we can all get this extra bonus. I mean, again, it's all about compensation structure, but I love leaderboards and competitive roll-ups like that. So I'm with you on that. I say yes, okay? The source says messenger automation. Use chatbots to pre-sell and then you close the deal. There's different ways. Like I said, in some instances you can do that. In some instances you can't. Gotcha. So, there's a lot of things you can do. Let me see. Wow, that's mind-blowing, man. Your personal mission really resonates with me. Super love it. What do you say when clients says up front, your competitor is better? When somebody tells me my competitor is better, that's a learning experience for me, right? So, and again, I was doing a coaching call midday today, and it's with a dental office, right? In the dental office, periodontist. They do bridges, root canals, and all that, inkle. And he's saying, look, I have customers who come in and want to get some type of root canal, some bridge job, whatever done, and they're coming in with a $3,000 bid from another dentistry. He said the problem is, and it wasn't a problem, but he said the problem is that we're all high end. We're all one-stop shop. I said, he says his dental chairs are so high-tech and expensive. He said they're at the level of a basic C-class Mercedes, something like that. I was like, whoa. And so he says we provide top tier, service here. And so we talked about how you don't apologize for pricing. You embrace pricing, as we say, you lean into that objection. You just kind of say, yeah, of course we're more expensive, but here's why we're more expensive. So when somebody says to you, your competitor is better, my question is, really, in what way? And then let them give you information. Now imagine, I want you to imagine for a moment, Inkle, that you've accepted the fact that you're not going to get this customer. But what if you just sat there with that client and said, tell me in what way you think they're better? And then he gave you, let's say, 3 ways. Let's just say 3 ways that the competition is better, all right? You accept those 3. And then maybe you can come up with 3 ways you think you're better, right? You're different than these 3. Now, you're not going to get the deal maybe, but here's what you walk away with, is that, first of all, you made your point that you have your valid points of why you're better, and they'll confirm that. And then the 3 points you got that your competitor is better on, you can take that information now and say in your next sales deal, how do I block that objection, right? And I got a program called Blocking Objections, right, in the Sales Velocity Academy. And I would then develop scripts for blocking those objections so I can reduce that resistance. So I would just say, tell me how they're better. Love to find out. And so I think if you take that open, inquisitive approach and don't get defensive, I think, first of all, that'll catch them off guard. Because if somebody says, hey, your competitor's better than you, I go, in what way? I'm curious. Tell me, in what way are they better than us? Let's go through the specs. Let's go through the services they offer. In what way are they better than us? I'm dying to find out. Totally different mindset. You're probably going to freak them out. or freak her out when you tell them something like that. What's the schedule for Sales After Dark? Blake, poo! So it's Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or New York time for my international people. So just 3 days a week. I was thinking of pulling it back to 2, but I think I'll still keep it 3. Sales Velocity Academy, great tools for new and experienced salespeople. If you're just starting out in sales, or you've been in the game for a while, I'm telling you, check it out. The Sales Velocity Academy. I got 50 courses, over 500 videos. It's cool stuff. Thank you for the, I appreciate that, Brian. Thank you very much for the feedback on that. Priska, who's her first time here. All your information should definitely reach the Hispanic community. Muchísimas gracias. You are amazing. Right back at you. And so eventually, I have to do this in Spanish, right? So I know, I owe that. Mike Bonnet says, yep. And I'm going to assume that's the leaderboard, right, Michael? So again, there's nothing wrong, Jing Yi, for using that. Victor, I still want to buy one of your pens. My pens are not for sale yet. In fact, I got a new pen. I just crafted a new one. Can I show it to you guys? Here's my new pen. There it is, man. I'm gonna give you first preview to my new pen. And let me see. That's what it looks like. There it is, man. So it's kind of a cool pen. The thing is, it's my little hobby. Here you go, I'll show it to you. It's back here. I keep it right there. There it is, right there. This beautiful thing. And so that's my hobby, man. So I usually just do pens. Yes, when I'm bored and I need something to do, I make pens. And so they're not for sale yet, Brian, but one day I'll put them on for sale. I got a huge inventory. It's just like they're like my babies. I hate letting them go, man. So, but anyway, back to the comments, man. Let me go there. Yeah. Thank you, Tahir. Yeah, the Sales Velocity Academy has great content. This is my second month and love the content. Thank you for the feedback. Love that, man. Monet, I love the fact that your approach is always soft and fun. You got to be, man. You can be serious about this stuff. And the thing is, I tell people, I said, I can get serious about this. I can sit there and talk very technical with you. Well, let's go through the specs. And, I can do all that. But I realize, and I say that a lot, is that you just need to connect with people. And no matter how many titles somebody has, how many years of experience, all these people who want to intimidate you, don't be intimidated by them. Just treat them like human beings. Mike Bonnet's chiming in again. What do you got? Victor's a great sales guy. I won't forget the day he sat behind me listening in on a sales call I had. Yeah, see, it was really cool, man. It was, and the way you guys do it, I wish you, by the way, it's too bad that, you just can't have cameras in there to see what these guys do, because they got guys like Mike. I'm sure you switched off, Mike, where you're coaching somebody when they're talking to somebody else. By the way, an example of true, coaching / mentorship, I saw it live. I saw them doing it live. I'm telling you, it's like a well-oiled machine down there. I mean, it's just crazy down there. Give Jared a hi for me, and Grant, man. Appreciate it. Sparrow's Tail, thank you for your help as always, Victor. I have been doing social media marketing on a regular basis in addition to flyers. I do flyers when I feel used up on social media. A better way to spend that time? I'm a social media guy. I like creating content, so I do a lot of videos. So that's how I do the marketing. So, because sometimes you want to connect with people, they want to see video. Like part of this is marketing, right? The live streams. So I've garnered so much business from this. I've gotten companies to hire me to do webinars, and soon, probably August 1st, I get to announce my first sponsor, right? I think we're going to get a second one, but I got the first sponsor, and so that's another revenue source for me. So video for me has been very, very good for me. And so maybe that'll help you. Maybe there's a way you can use video, Sparrow's Tail, to actually market. So for me, it's been a lifesaver. Ever since I read Gary Vaynerchuk's book years ago, Crushing It or Crush It, Gary Vaynerchuk was the one that really got me into doing videos when he was doing his Wine Library TV. And so when he was like, video, this is back in 2008, 12 years ago, he was like, video, Gary Vaynerchuk. I was like, all right, let's go video. And so I still think video is the most powerful medium. I think people are reading less. I think they'll listen to podcasts if you're driving, but a lot of people are not driving to work anymore. So they'll watch video. So maybe there's a play there for you. Victor, hi, what do you do if you want to start teaching, but everyone there's a second part to that. Everyone, let me see, I got you right here. I got your second part right here. I'm trying to get it up here. Everyone, let me see. My members in my scared for me to teach construction. They're saying They're saying if I start teaching, we will close clients in Jamaica. My members, Leon, I don't understand that one. You're going to have to help me with that one. But it sounds like, sorry, my members in my, for me to teach. Yeah, help me out with that one. Give me a rewrite on that. Give me a rewrite on that. Mike Bond says, that is true. Very cool, man. Rod Vidre again. Love it, Victor. We'll look for what does the 5G tower constructing company might be lacking, missing, or having issues with, and put my business doctor hat on and what to do as entrepreneurs. Like I said, the 5Gs, they need to build out more infrastructure. You probably know this, maybe not, but like, remember when the 2001 and 2007, 2008, when we had the Great Depression, the stock market crash, there was so much bandwidth available. 2001, there was so much, and 2007, 2008, there were all kinds of fiber optics in the ground, and they weren't using all the bandwidth. Today, everything is so video heavy, and because we're moving away from like even video, 1080p, we're going to 4K. Now there's something called 6K and moving towards 8K. So all that's going to require more bandwidth, which means infrastructure, the pipes have to be built out. And so that business is not going to go away at all, man. Jing says, right on, man, right back at you, man. Pete, my man, thank you for joining me. Anyone in here that doesn't already have Sales Velocity Academy, go get it now. Sooner it rocks. Thank you, Pete, man. Appreciate you, man. Raza, wow, the leaderboard is genius. Let's go. I'm going to give Grant Cardone's group that credit for that, because that was the first time I actually saw it used. We used to do roll-ups at the end of the week where you would just kind of have this sheet. But to see when I walked into their, I'll call it the bullpen, it was wild to see the screen, the monitors up there. So, yeah, Mike can talk to that more about that, but that's pretty cool, though. Catching this late, I will catch replay and set. Hey, Cheryl, anytime you can catch it is all good. All good in the hood. All right, a couple of more, then I'm out of here. Yes, I agree. People tend to get a little lazy after time. This is where people go into the mode that the market is slow. It acts as a ripple effect, yeah, right? Because everybody wants to use the market as slow, right? Oh, the market's slow, nobody's buying. Man, that excuse has been around, forever and a day. And so somebody is always buying something. I mean, that's just my golden rule. I started cold calling to generate more leads for my business. Any tips on qualifying prospects or things I should focus in order to improve my cold calls? I just did Avery, I just did a live stream, I think about 2 or 3 live streams ago. It was called Smart Calling, based on Art Sobczak's book, Smart Calling. And I touched on some great things there, but I highly recommend getting that book. And as far as qualifying, that's something you're going to have to put together, just a profile of your ideal clients. But check out the book. There's a lot of great resources out there on smart calling, cold calling, and it's just a matter of figuring out your scripts. Second, make sure that you have some type of system where you're storing a CRM system that you're storing this on, so you can develop some cadences, some rhythms, and make sure you're very consistent. So, and Brian says, I'll start the bidding at 100, man. Yeah, I got you, man. I got you. You're persistent, man. I like that. Sales velocity is worth every penny, man. Thank you for the outline. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, man. What do we have here? Sparrow's Tale. Will life or debt ever come back? Love that show. So for those who don't know what Sparrow's Tale is talking about, I have a TV show called Life or Debt. I did a full season. So if you go online, if you go to like Amazon, I think Hulu also, it's called Life or Debt, where I'm the host of the show. We did 11 episodes, and this is where I go help families. I spent a week with a family, and by the way, the nice Victor you see here is not the guy that shows up in there. I'm really mean in that series, but I need to be mean because of the parents. If you are struggling with, economically, and you're looking for ideas for your household to save money, I strongly recommend watching my series Life or Debt. It's like I think it's like $1.99 an episode on Amazon. I don't get any commissions, by the way, or royalties. I didn't work that deal out well. But check it out, because it's like Dave Ramsey, if you know who Dave Ramsey is, the financial coach, or Susie Orman. Think of those two and then put it with in a reality show. And that's what you have with me. So check out the show. There's so many great tips in there. I get Sparrow's Tale. I get so many emails from people who say, this show has changed my life. So I'm really glad you brought that up, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm commission-only sales for 33 years and still loving it. There you go. Like I said, some people just love it, man. And there's nothing wrong with it. I love salespeople who love commission-only, right? And again, that's when you can sell. I always say, when you don't have at least a small base salary, there's no safety net. You got to sell. You got to hunt, So, Jing, welcome, Mike. These are, again, you guys are hunters, man. Remember discovering you when I watched your day in the life video several years ago. You caught my attention. Thank you, CF. I don't know which one that is, and hopefully I didn't say anything embarrassing in that video. Victor, who did you say you were having as a new sponsor? I didn't say Mark. I didn't say. You just want me to say it. Was a CRM, did you have a specific recommendation for a CRM? All right. So the company is, just between us, just don't tell anybody. So the company that's coming on board is Pipedrive. So I don't know if you've heard of Pipedrive. Like pipe. Let me get my marker going here. It's Pipedrive. That's the company. And we've signed the deal already. So Pipedrive.com will become the official first sponsor of Sales After Dark, man. So I'm super excited about that. And the second one I got lined up, I think, is even better. By better, I mean it's just more exciting because it's a different market, right? So that's who they are, Mark. I like it. Look, there's great, there's a lot, like Zoho is good. Salesforce is good. The Salesforce, if you're high enterprise, if you're an enterprise level company and you got, let's say, 50 to 100 salespeople, and you want to use some artificial intelligence, that's one way to go. But Pipedrive has some AI as well. What I love about Pipedrive, even before they approached me, I liked Pipedrive because it's got a simple interface and it's reasonable. It's not expensive. So check them out if you get a chance. All right, man. Do you think that CRM software apps are now teaching sales? They're putting so much content related to sales like Gong, which you gave content last stream. What is your opinion? So what's happening with CRMs is that it's a great question. You're asking. I was going to cover this. I'll touch on it to here. So what's happening is that here's your CRM. This is kind of a cool thing to know. You should know at least this much. So how do you get data into your CRM? First of all, there's you inputting your data, right? That's, you met with the customer, dates, time, and so forth. Gong.io is getting to the point where they record your conversations. Well, you record them. That's your conversation. And they take those recording and you can put that into the CRM as well, right? Then you can take all your social media channels, let's say LinkedIn specifically, and you can feed all the activity of your target ideal clients, right? The people who you're targeting into that. And then, you can buy demographic data and then feed that into the CRM. And the output will be the big I, which is some insights into, who's more likely to buy and not. And you start looking at different dashboards and stuff like that. So that's the highest level concept of how it all works. All this is being driven through a CRM. But the CRM is now acting like the nexus of all this data. And it is amazing the stuff they're coming out with. And so on Sunday, I'll be doing something on ABM, which is account-based marketing, which looks at using CRM and some of these components. So join me on Sunday. I think it's going to be exciting. So I don't know if I gave you the full answer, but that's a generic answer without going too deep. You know what I mean? So, by the way, CRMs with AI is the future of selling. So whether you choose to accept it or not, it's moving that way. Hey, Victor, we appreciate you for sharing your knowledge with all of us. I sell POS systems for restaurants. Ooh, tough business right now, right? Many of my potential clients, are in survival mode. That's what I meant. What is your opinion on selling to them? Do you have anything else to sell them? You know what I mean? Because right now, first of all, their margins are already thin, right? I've worked with restaurant companies. I've worked with companies who sold POS systems like to restaurants, gas stations, and other retail businesses. And so you might have to pivot and maybe find a different, essential business type of things. But right now, margins for restaurants have always been thin. So I think that's a problem. You can shift towards trying to find high-end restaurants, but that's a tough one, Nicholas, man. I don't have an answer for you because that's a real tough one. I would try to find a way to pivot to another market segment, because I think that one's going to be a slow climb back. And I could be wrong. I'm just guessing, just like everybody else is. But that's a tough one, man. Sorry about that. Yeah. Smart Calling is the book that I recommended. Great content. The sources, thank you, Vic. Right back at you. You can buy Life or Debt on YouTube as well. I didn't know that. Can you buy it on YouTube? Man, I should have figured out a royalty deal with that. Brenda Bella says she loves Pipedrive. And last but not least, The Motivator. So I have a movie. If you haven't seen my movie, The Motivator, it's on YouTube. It's free. If you really want to find out about Victor Antonio, just check it out there. And last but not least, Mark, I'm taking yours last. Great Victor, are you scheduled at a set time for Sunday? It's always 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Times, Tuesday. Thursdays and Sunday. And that's all I got for you guys tonight. Thank you guys. Paco LeBron has just joined us, man. Paco, thank you for joining us. You're so late. I still love you, man. But anyway, you guys have a great night. And before I leave, I got to give you some final thoughts, man. So final thoughts for the evening. Retention is a big thing. I'm telling you right now, moving forward, companies are going to have to figure out a way to retain people. There was a study that came out that said if you can improve your retention of your salespeople, right, or people in general really, by 5%, just reduce retention, by keeping people 5%, you can improve your profit margins between 25 and 95%. You're saying, well, how is that margin so big? If I can improve retention by 5%, how can my margin improvements be in my business 25 to almost 95%? Well, think about it. When you're keeping people or you're keeping clients, you don't have to go out and hunt for new people or new clients. So retention is going to be a big component. And it's not that hard to keep great salespeople. Just again, you got to train them. You got to give them the freedom. Give them the mentorship. Again, put a great compensation plan together for them. And the big one at the end, I said, don't lie to them. Be honest with people. Figure out how you're going to bring them on board. Remember, the onboarding process is just as important. So, and again, before I forget, remember, subscribe, share, or like. But always share with at least one person. That's a way of you saying thank you to me, and I would appreciate it if you can just share that right there with at least one person. And we will see you guys on Thursday. The topic is yet to be determined, but I'll put something out. And again, you guys are awesome. Thank you for joining me. And as always, remember, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care.